Welcome everyone to the Manager Matt Podcast Show. Hope you're all doing well and delivering results through your directs. Right, well, this week's show is the last in the big five for management. I know that a lot of you, and from the comments you sent me, are really enjoying the show so far. So please keep sending those comments to managermattpodcast@gmail.com or like the video, share the video, subscribe to the videos, enjoy the videos. This week is the last one of the five, as I said. So we've done one-to-ones, we've done feedback, we've done delegation, we've done coaching, and this time it's empowering. How do we empower our teams? This sounds very grand, doesn't it? It sounds very, very, whoa, we're going to be empowered. And it can be quite difficult. You know, people are people. Thankfully, people are people. We're not robots. We don't run a program in our head and we don't put a sub-routine when we come to work and we don't do this and we don't do that. We're people. Some days you're motivated to heck. Other days, less. There's something going on at home. The kids aren't sleeping. Someone's poorly. You've got to go to this. You've got to do that. You're busy away from work. You can't fit it in. We're people. We're humans. Managers are humans. I don't know if anyone's told you this before, but managers are humans. I know people don't think that, but we are humans. So this idea of being empowered sounds very grand. But you've got to think of that because energy levels inside your business and energy levels inside your team and empowerment and involvement and engagement are massive parts of what you do as a manager and a leader. Now, you can't always be cheering and dancing around with pom-poms and all being like unicorns and rainbow and everything's brilliant. We know times can be difficult. You know, we've gone through lots of things in the last few years that have affected the way we are. We know there's been pressures and there'll be more pressures to come. So we can't expect everyone every day to be bouncing around thinking it's brilliant and that's the way it is. If they are doing that, there may be some underlying issues of something going on there, because even though I'm a very positive person, very upbeat, and I like to think of myself as being a half full kind of guys, we all have pressures and we all have issues. That means some days we're not quite at the races. That's understandable. But how do you empower them as an actual set of processes and procedures that you need to do to get that done? And that sounds formal, doesn't it? Process and procedures about empowerment. Empowerment does build on all the things I've been talking about over the last few weeks. And remember, look at the other videos if you haven't already. You need to be able to trust your team. You need to be able to have a real good working knowledge of your team, both inside and outside. And that comes from one-to-ones. You need to be able to tell people when things are going well and when they're not going so well. And obviously that's around feedback. And you need to give people the tools that they can do the job well. And you've got to give the people the power to do it themselves, which is around delegating. And then you've got to see potential and spot it and coach them. But the empowering part comes into that last piece of giving them the trust to do what they need to do at the right times. If you're senior in a team, or even if you're not senior in a team, if you're running a team, you know beneath you should be a team capable of delivering the results you want them to do. It should be a team that understands what their roles are. And it should be a team that understands what good looks like and a team that knows what success looks like. That makes it so much easier to manage. There's no point in having a team if you're going to do everything for them. If you're not going to empower them to make decisions, if you're not going to empower them to go out and do the right things, there's no point. You might as well do it yourself. But I'll tell you a secret. You won't be able to do it yourself. You can't do it yourself if you try to do everything. So empowering them is to give them that last piece of the jigsaw, the last piece of trust that allows them to be able to make the decisions. And we're not talking about empowerment where you say on a Tuesday you can make a decision, but you can't make a decision every other day. No, empowerment is saying, I trust you to make the right decisions with the skills you've got and the data you have at this moment in time. And if that is the wrong decision, you also have to have the bravery to back that decision. You have to be accountable for the decisions of your team. They're responsible for the decisions they make. They've got the skills, they've got the information, but you're the accountable one. You've got to make sure that you have given those guys and girls the right amount of information to make the right decisions, and they understand what their aim is at the end of it. So empowerment, unlike the others, can be a little bit more difficult to pin down. But start this way. When you look at your team now, could you put a matrix up on a table or on a sheet and write down what everything that person does in their day? And could you say, is that important? Is that urgent? Could you say if it's something they should be doing or should be delegating? Is that something that you can give to them? Is that empowerment to be able to go out there and pick the right things to do? I don't micromanage my teams, never have. I've never seen the need to micromanage teams. I've got involved when there's a problem. When things go wrong, they want the leader there. When things are really hitting the fan, they want to feel that you're in there with them. In the trenches, I suppose they used to say, not 5 miles behind telling people what to do. So you have to be in there, you have to get involved, and that's the right thing. But they don't want you there every day. They don't need you there every day because you empower them to make the right decisions. And you congratulate them, even when it's wrong. Now, that's a strange thing to say, but when things go wrong, first thing people do is to blame. Find the blame. Whose fault is this? You'll hear that a lot. By doing that, what happens? People start to hide when things go wrong because they know they're going to get a scene. They're going to get shouted at. They're going to get told off. Some cultures I've worked in, that's how it worked. There'd be the hairdryer moment, if everyone knows what that is, where someone comes into the office, shouts and bawls and says how terrible things are. I've even seen things being thrown across the table. Now, cultures like that, I don't hang around in because that's not how you should manage teams. If you've managed teams and they've done their best with the skills they've got, the information you've given them, and the data that they've used and they've made the decision, then they've made a decision. If you don't do that, your phone's never going to stop ringing. 2 a.m, boss, should we do this? Sunday afternoon, boss, should we do this? Monday evening, what's going on? I don't know. I need you to make a call for me about everything. And that's not how you want to work. Because if you work like that, you'll burn yourself out. So just remember, empowering people is around giving them the trust all the time, not just on a Tuesday. You've got to make sure that you've given them the right skills, you've skilled them up, you've given them the right information, and you let them run. And when they make mistakes, you say, okay, let's learn from that and move forward. Okay, that's my thoughts on delegation, and I'm sure there's lots of you out there who've got your thoughts on it. So make sure you email me at managermattpodcast@gmail.com because feedback is a gift, and I just want you to keep giving those feedbacks. And thank you for those who've already done. Remember, comments below because we're on YouTube. Thumbs up, subscribe, tick the bell, whatever you need to do. Not really sure about that at the minute. But that's it for Manager Matt this week. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.